Hi, Sandra Wilson here. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist who works with extreme sound sensitivity and misophonia. So this video is really just to ask the question, why are you so bothered by the noise that your neighbours make? I mean, could it be misophonia, for example? So if noise from your neighbours affects you far more than it seems to affect other people, you may find yourself just asking, why does this happen? Why do I feel so angry? Why do I let it bother me so much? And am I just too sensitive, too dramatic or entitled, or whatever label you might be applying to yourself? And you are not alone, and there may be a good reason why your reaction is so strong, of course. And it's important to note that people that live next door to us, we have no control over what they do often. And yes, some people are lucky. They may be able to just block the noise out. Perhaps they don't react in such an extreme way. And I think the whole neighbour nuisance thing has really boomed since the pandemic, when so many more people are now working from home. And of course, as a therapist with a practice in her own home, with neighbours that were doing noisy renovation work for at least 2 years, I understand how you feel. Okay, so you are not alone, and it's very common. But if it is ruining your life, if you're feeling that you can't escape and there is no hope, you can't move, you wouldn't really want to move, but this noise from your next door neighbours is just tearing apart your sense of well-being, if it's making you really miserable, what is going on? So, as I said before, for some very lucky people, certain sounds don't really bother them so much, but in your case, maybe those sounds don't just register as noise, they trigger a very powerful response in your nervous system. Okay, so that is where it is so important. You're not just hearing a noise, it is registering a threat in your nervous system. So things like footsteps, the sound of music, like especially bass sounds, doors slamming, people talking loudly, repetitive noises, dogs barking, can feel so intrusive, inescapable, and very overwhelming. So when that happens, your body might respond with anger and agitation. It might respond by feeling panic or extreme anxiety and a strong urge to escape, or even a strong urge to send them a really snarky WhatsApp message or go hammering on their door telling them to just stop. And you know logically that the noise, even if it's annoying, isn't really a danger as such. It's just creeping into your orbit and making you feel really, really uncomfortable, angry, all of this stuff. So, I mean, could it be misophonia? I mean, is there a difference between misophonia by its classical definition and extreme sound sensitivity? So of course we know, the classic definition, misophonia is simply a strong emotional and physical reaction to certain sounds, and it's not just about disliking noise in general, it's about how your nervous system interprets and responds to those triggers. And neighbour noise can be especially difficult, whether you define it or label it misophonia or not, because it often feels unpredictable, out of your control, and impossible to get away from. Okay, so those 3 factors make your life very, very difficult. And there's an important reassurance here. Don't label yourself as dramatic. Don't label yourself as oversensitive or difficult or just failing to cope, because you are none of those things. it means that your nervous system is interpreting these sounds as a threat to you. So even if your rational mind knows that the noises are, yeah, a bit of a pain in the arse, but you can, you know, a lot of people will just get on with their lives in spite of this and live quite peaceful lives, even if, you know, their next door neighbours have got, you know, children or dogs, or they're doing a little bit of DIY or whatever. Your nervous system has taken a different view. It is trying to protect you, and it is hypersensitive. At this point, we just don't really fully understand why, and that is why a lot of people come to me to have therapy, to figure out why their nervous system is doing those things, making their lives seemingly so difficult, when really protection and defense is the ultimate goal of the nervous system, of course. So it's really important that you don't label yourself with judgmental words. So now you understand a little bit about what may be happening and why you react so badly. This is often the first step toward feeling less overwhelmed and less reactive. And wouldn't it be wonderful to just spend your days in the peace of your own home, enjoying meals, sitting in your garden, doing a bit of work at your laptop, without worrying about whether your neighbours are going to be making lots of racket. So if you'd like to learn more about this, more about misophonia and sound sensitivity from a calm, nervous system informed perspective, you are very welcome to reach out to me. I'm going to be producing some written resources and releasing those on my new Misophonia website in coming days. So I will be back with more content tomorrow. Bye for now.